Hello everyone, and welcome to the second time I'm doing this, because I started and then I realized my mic was muted. So, this is me reacting to a presidential debate in a country that I don't live in, and, well, the only reason is it's the most powerful country in the world, United States, and it's the debate between Donald Trump and Kamala Harris. I'm a South African. Let's get into it.
Kamala Harris. Let's have a good debate.
Have fun.
Thank you.
Have fun.
Welcome to you both. It's wonderful to have you. It's an honor to have you both here tonight.
Good evening. We are looking forward to a spirited and thoughtful debate.
So let's get started. I want to begin tonight with the issue that voters repeatedly say is their number one issue, and that is the economy and the cost of living in this country. Vice President Harris, you and President Trump were elected 4 years ago, and your opponent on the stage here tonight often asks his supporters, are you better off than you were 4 years ago? When it comes to the economy, do you believe Americans are better off than they were 4 years ago?
So I was raised as a middle-class kid, and I am actually the
politicians. Okay, this is going to be painful because every single time they're going to take it as an opportunity to be politicians. Okay, let's do this. 90 minutes.
the only person on this stage who has a plan that is about lifting up the middle class and working people of America. I believe in the ambition, the aspirations, the dreams of the American people. And that is why I imagine and have actually a plan to build what I call an opportunity.
How do I... My face is currently covering her face. How do I do this so it's not... How about I cover... How about I cover Trump's face? Yes, no one wants to look at his face. Oh, but it's kind of important to see the face. What if I put myself down here? Yeah, I think this is good.
Economy. Because here's the thing. We know that we have a shortage of homes to give a $50,000 tax deduction to start.
I feel like... Well, no, there must be a reason that politicians always go off on these bloody monologues with simple questions. But I feel like if someone actually came up there and was, like, genuine, like, not genuine enough to, like, give away the nuclear codes or whatever, but, like, genuine and not going into a monologue and telling a whole life story, I feel like people would like that. Anyway.
Startups, small businesses, knowing they are part of the backbone of America's economy. My opponent, on the other hand, his plan is to do what he has done before, which is to provide a tax cut for billionaires and big corporations, which will result in $5 trillion to America's deficit. My opponent has a plan that I call the Trump's sales tax, which would be a 20% tax on everyday goods that you rely on to get through the month. Economists have said...
I zoned out for a lot of that. I had to consciously zone back in when she started saying things that were important. Yeah, obviously, billionaires suck. Take their money away.
That Trump sales tax would actually result for middle-class families in about $4,000 more a year because of his policies and his ideas about what should be the backs of middle-class people paying for tax cuts for billionaires.
Imagine what this would have sounded if Joe Biden was still running. God. I mean, it would have been amusing, but it would have been a catastrophe.
President Trump, I'll give you 2 minutes.
First of all, I have no sales tax. That's an incorrect statement. She knows that. We're doing tariffs on other countries. Other countries are going to finally, after...
Trump is flat wrong to claim that the entire tariff is paid by foreign country. Fantastic. First question, fucking lied. Not even exaggerate, just fucking lied. Cool.
75 years pay us back for all that we've done for the world, and the tariff will be substantial in some cases. I took in billions and billions of dollars, as you know, from China. In fact, they never took the tariff off because there was so much money they can't.
I've never done a
It would
Trump
totally
impression.
destroy everything that they've set out to do. They're taking in billions of dollars from China and other places they've left the tariffs on. When I had it, I had tariffs, and yet I had no inflation.
When I had
look, we've had a terrible economy because
I'm talking over him because he fucking lied, so I don't give a shit.
millions of people pouring into our country from prisons and jails, from mental institutions and insane.
Biden did not have the highest inflation in US history. We have millions of people. This is poppycock. Who the fuck wrote this? I was certainly having a good day. Absolute, just a stream of fucking bullshit. Holy Jesus.
Insane asylums, and they're coming in and they're taking jobs that are occupied
Insane
right
asylums?
now by African Americans and Hispanics, and also unions. Unions are going to be affected very soon, and you see what's happening.
It's like a string of fucking buzzwords. Holy shit.
See what's happening with towns throughout the United States. You look at Springfield, Ohio. You look at Aurora in Colorado. They are taking over the towns. They're taking over buildings. They're going in violently. These are the people that she...
How is this a close race? How are there this many stupid people? Sorry, no. Uninformed people.
He and Biden led into our country.
Donald Trump left us the worst unemployment since the Great Depression. Donald Trump left us.
Right, might as well be fair on this. Yeah, look at Springfield, Ohio. Trump is channeling right-wing social media sensations. Yes, yes. I don't know the greatest. This is false. What you're going to hear tonight is detailed and dangerous plan called Project 2020. Huh? They're not fact-checking leftists. Okay.
The worst public health epidemic in a century. Donald Trump left us the worst attack on our democracy since the Civil War. And what we have done is clean up Donald Trump's mess. What we have done and what I intend to do is build on what we know are the aspirations and the hopes of the American people. But I'm going to tell you all in this debate tonight, you're going to hear...
I'm going to be honest. If I was American and the choice was between Donald Trump and a hamburger... Well, no, I'd go for Donald Trump, but it's a hamburger. Come on, okay. But that's how high the bar is. He's better than a hamburger. I'm a vegetarian, by the way. So, I am very biased in this case.
Here from the...
If it is a veggie burger, I'd vote the veggie burger.
We handed them over a country where the economy and where the stock market was higher than it was before the pandemic came in. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. We made ventilators for the entire world. We got gowns, we got masks, we did things that nobody thought possible. And people give me credit for rebuilding the military. They give me credit for a lot of things.
Rebuilding?
But not enough credit for...
When was the US military unbuilt? What?
The great job we did with the pandemic. But the only jobs they got were bounce back jobs. These were jobs bounce back, and it bounced back and it went to their benefit. But I was the one that created them. They know it, and so does everybody else.
Vice President Harris, I'll let you respond.
So, Donald Trump has no plan for you. And when you look at his...
Yeah, that is true.
His economic plan for you, because he is more interested in defending himself than he is in looking out for you.
No, I would have said not defending himself, more self-interest. Just interest in accumulating wealth and power for himself. Not defending. He doesn't defend. He pompously and arrogantly floats above the law.
You.
It's just a soundbite. They gave her something to say. Look, I went to the Wharton School of Finance, and many of those professors, the top professors...
They couldn't identify any of the best professors who supposedly said he had the best plan.
Just to finish off, she doesn't have a plan. She copied Biden's plan, and it's like 4
And? It's better than your plan.
sentences, like run spot...
What's wrong with copying his plan? She was the vice president. She had a part in that plan, didn't she? Wouldn't she have?
Run 4 sentences, my philosophy. But if she ever got elected, she'd change it, and it will be the end of our country. She's a Marxist. Everybody knows she's a Marxist. Her father's a Marxist professor in economics, and he taught her well. But when you look at what she's done to our country, and when you look at these millions and millions of people that are pouring into our country monthly, where it's, I believe, 21 million...
Why do they use Marxist as a slur? Like, I haven't read, like, any documents on Marxism, but isn't it, like, the basis of communism? Communism, in theory, is pretty cool. It just, because you're concentrating all that power, it is very high risk in terms of turning into a dictatorship. Because the government basically has a monopoly on everything. Which is why socialism is very nice.
People, not the 15 that people say, and I think it's a lot higher than the 21. That's bigger than New York State pouring in. And just look at what they're doing to our country.
Wait, how did he get Pierre?
But when you look at what be the end of our country, she's a Marxist. Everybody knows she's a Marxist. Her father's a Marxist professor in economics, and he taught her well. But when you look at what she's done to our country, and when you look at these millions and millions of people that are pouring into our country monthly, where it's, I believe, 21 million people.
Hold on.
When you look at what she's done, professor in economics, and he taught her well. But when you look at what she's done to our country, and when you look at these millions and millions of people that are pouring into our country.
What is the original question? Like, even without that question, he started with Marxism. What does immigration have to do with Marxism? What?
Monthly, where it's, I believe, 21 million immigration later. Well, bad immigration is the worst thing that can happen to our economy.
No.
They have, and she has.
I feel like there are worse things that can happen to your economy. Like, recently I saw the trend of infinite money. I feel like an actual infinite money glitch in some sort of bank, giving some people actually infinite money that doesn't get combated, that would probably be even higher on the list of the worst things for the economy. Because with every not real dollar, in this case that's created, the value of the dollar as it stands goes down. Because it has a set value, and if you just pump in, make a higher number, it's still the same value, just bigger number. I feel like that'd be worse, and that's just off of the top of my head. On top of the blah. Why am I?
Has destroyed our country with policy that's insane.
I can't do
almost
it. Trump
policy that you'd say they have
well,
to hate our country.
President Trump.
Almost policy.
I want to turn to the issue of abortion. President Trump, you've often touted that you were able to kill Roe v. Wade. Last year, you said that you were proud to be the most pro-life president in American history. Then last month, you said...
In terms of policy, yes. In terms of him himself, he couldn't give... And that's my opinion. In my opinion, in terms of policy, yes. In terms of rhetoric, yes. In terms of himself, in my opinion, he doesn't give a shit. He doesn't give a shit about anything. Except, you know, getting rich and being powerful.
That your administration would be great for women and their reproductive rights. In your home state of Florida, you surprised many with regard to your 6-week abortion ban because you initially had said that it was too short. And you said, quote, I'm going to be voting that we need more than 6 weeks. But then the very next day, you reversed course and said you would vote to support the 6-week ban. Vice President Harris says that women shouldn't trust you on the issue of abortion because you've changed your position so many times. Therefore, why should they trust you?
Well, the reason I'm doing that vote is because the plan is, as you know, the vote is, they have abortion in the 9th month. They even have, and you can look at the governor.
Okay, that's definitely something that they must have fact-checked. 25 weeks. Are there any ones later than 25 weeks? Because 25 weeks is 6 months, and I feel like I said, not much of a baby in 25 weeks. Monica knew she was pregnant as soon as she missed a period. Okay, that was mental health issues, so did not want to raise child. Good call. Yes, okay. They wanted to have an earlier abortion, but they were delayed because the US is a piece of shit currently in terms of that. Anyway, so, but they didn't have any cases that were past like 7 months, and there's not much of a baby at 7 months. I mean, there's much of a baby, but not really. And one of them was because they were unable to access an earlier one because of stupid laws. Anyway, that tangent done.
Governor of West Virginia, the previous governor of West Virginia, not the current governor, is doing an excellent job, but the governor before, He said the baby will be born and we will decide what to do with the baby. In other words, we'll execute the baby. And that's why I did that, because that predominates, because they're radical. The Democrats are radical in that. And her vice presidential pick, which I think was a horrible pick, by the way, for our country, because he is really out of it. But her vice presidential pick says abortion in the 9th month is absolutely fine. He also says execution after birth. It's execution, no longer abortion, because the baby is born, is okay. And that's not okay with me, hence the vote. But what I did is something for 52 years. They've been trying to get Roe v. Wade into the states. And through the genius and heart and strength of 6 Supreme Court justices, we were able to do that. Now, I believe in the exceptions for rape, incest, and life of the mother. I believe strongly in it. Ronald Reagan did also.
And the laws don't reflect
85%
that.
of Republicans do. Exceptions. Very important. Voting. It's the vote of the people now. It's not tied up in the...
Certainly, in most cases, I would agree that if you have, like, states with populations, you should be able to vote on things like that more individually for the states, because you can freely move from one to the other. But when it's something as serious as, like, abortion rights, that's absolutely something that should be going in a positive and liberal direction, and absolutely should be universal across the country.
Federal government. I did a great service in doing it. It took courage to do it. And the Supreme Court...
The thing is, if you're pro-life, just don't have an abortion. Simple as that.
Had great courage in doing it. And I give tremendous credit to those 6 justices.
The thing is, another thing, no matter how late it is, it's very traumatic either having to deal with a child you never wanted, because firstly, economic burdens, because now you have to raise and grow another human being, which is very expensive in an already expensive world to live in, and secondly, the other option is giving it away for adoption into what is no doubt, and almost certainly, an overstressed adoption system in the country. And again, that's really traumatic, giving away the child. It's just cruel to everyone involved.
There is no state in this country where it is legal to kill a baby after it's born. Madam Vice President, I want to get your response to President Trump.
Well, as I said, you're going to hear a bunch of lies, and that's not actually a surprising fact.
I mean, it's correct, but...
Let's understand how we got here. Donald Trump hand-selected 3 members of the United States Supreme Court with the intention...
You know what it reminds me of? When they said they're going to get student loans terminated, and it ended up being a total catastrophe. The student loans, and then...
Hold on, wasn't that blocked by the Republicans? They didn't say, okay.
I think probably her boss, if you call him a boss, he spends all his time on the beach. But look, her boss went out and said, we'll do it again. We'll do it a different way. And he went out, got rejected again by the Supreme Court. So all
your Supreme Court!
Students got taunted with this whole thing about this whole idea.
What? He's talking about his Supreme Court! Republican Supreme Court justices who blocked this! What?
And how unfair that would have been. Part of the reason they lost to the millions and millions of people that had to pay off their student loans. They didn't get it for free. But they were saying it's the same way that they talked about that they talk about abortion.
But if I could just get a yes or no, because your running mate, J.D. Vance, has said that you would veto it if it did come to your desk.
Well, I didn't discuss it with J.D. In all fairness, J.D., and I don't mind if he has a certain view, but I think he was speaking for me, but I really didn't. Look, we don't have to discuss it because she'd never be able to get it, just like she couldn't get student loans. They couldn't get student loans. They didn't even come close to getting student loans. They taunted young people and a lot of other people that had loans.
Because of
They can never get this approved.
What?
So it doesn't matter what she says about
barely
loans.
afford childcare as it is, have to travel to another state to get on a plane.
And those people are already quite privileged because there's so many more. For every one person, there's probably a dozen more that don't have the resources to go to a different state. And then, if they don't have the resources for that, how the fuck do they have the resources to raise a child? You're putting new lives into shit situations.
sitting next to strangers to go and get the health care she needs. Barely can afford to do it, and what you are putting her through is unconscionable. And the people of America have not, the majority of Americans believe in a woman's right to make decisions about her own body, and that is why in every state where this issue has been on the ballot, in red and blue states both, the people of America have voted for freedom.
Vice President Harris,
Excuse me, I have to respond. Another lie. It's another lie. I have been a leader on IVF, which is fertilization. The IVF, I have been a leader. In fact, when they got a very negative decision on IVF from the Alabama courts, I saw the people of Alabama and the legislature 2 days later voted it in. I've been a leader on it. They know that, and everybody else knows it. I have been a leader on fertilization, IVF. And the other thing, you should ask, will she allow abortion in the 8th month, 9th month, 7th month?
Come on.
Okay, would you do that? Why don't you
I think 7th month, yeah.
ask her that question?
Why don't you answer
That's the problem.
question? Would you
because
veto?
under Roe v. Wade,
What the best
question would you-
what the best situation would be is, okay, the thing is, the parent's life, that life is already here, and that should automatically take precedence over the life of this potential life, that is the fetus. But the absolute best possible policy here would be to have no abortions past 7 months, but no. At the earliest point at which the fetus can be removed and put into like an incubator or whatever it is, that should happen. And then the state should have things in place to make sure that child is taken care of by a family that actually wants a child. They should have policies in place that ensure that. But because those policies aren't in place, and they're a lot harder to put in place than making abortions more freely available, making abortions more freely available is the lesser of two evils.
Veto.
You could do abortions in the 7th month, the 8th month, the 9th
That's
month,
not true.
and probably after birth. Just look at the former governor.
Probably after birth! No. What? Who the... No one is... What?
Their job. It would have allowed us to stem the flow of fentanyl coming into the United States. I know there are so many families watching tonight who have been personally affected by the surge of fentanyl in our country. That bill would have put more resources to allow us to prosecute transnational criminal organizations for trafficking in guns, drugs, and human beings. But you know what happened to that bill? Donald Trump got on the phone, called up some folks in Congress, and said, kill the bill. And you know why? Because he'd prefer to run on a problem instead of fixing a problem. And understand, this...
How is this even close? How is this a close race? My God! I have to let my cat out.
This comes at a time.
Goddamn them all. I was told we'd cruise the seas for American gold. We'd fire no gun, shed no tear. Can't hit the high notes sometimes.
Where the people of our country actually need a leader who engages in solutions, who actually addresses the problems at hand. But what we have in the former president is someone who would prefer to run on a problem instead of fixing a problem. And I'll tell you something, he's going to talk about immigration a lot tonight, even when it's not the subject that is being raised. And I'm going to actually do something really unusual, and I'm going to invite you to attend one of Donald Trump's rallies, because it's a really interesting thing to watch. You will see during the course of his rallies, he talks about fictional characters like Hannibal Lecter. He will talk about windmills cause cancer. And what you will also notice is that people start leaving his rallies early out of exhaustion and boredom. And I will tell you, the one thing you will not hear him talk about is you. You will not hear him talk about your needs, your dreams, and your desires. And I'll tell you, I believe you deserve a president who actually puts you first, and I pledge to you that I will.
Vice President Harris, thank you. President Trump, on that point, I want to get your response.
Well, I would like to respond.
Let me just ask, though, why did you try to kill that bill?
Let me guess. He's going to say, nobody leaves my rallies. We have the best, biggest rallies. We've got so many crowds. They stay all the way to the end. I feel like that is pretty decent.
And successfully so, that would have put thousands of additional agents and officers on the border.
First, let me respond as to the rallies. She said people start leaving. People don't go to her rallies. There's no reason to go.
Oh,
and the
damn it, I got it wrong. Instead of pumping up his own stuff, he's pushing down her stuff.
people that do go, she's bussing them in and paying them to be there. And then
that would be so expensive. Holy shit. Rallies aren't even that important.
Showing them in a different light. So she can't talk about that. People don't leave my rallies. We have the biggest rallies, the most incredible.
Fucking bingo.
Rallies in the history of politics. That's because people want to take field. A lot of towns don't want to talk about it because they're so embarrassed by it. In Springfield, they're eating the dogs. The people that came in, they're eating the cat. Springfield. A lot of towns don't want to talk about it because they're so embarrassed by it. In Springfield, they're eating the dogs. The people that came in, they're eating the cats. A lot of towns don't want to talk about it because they're so embarrassed by it. In Springfield, they're eating the dogs. The people that came in, they're eating the dogs. The people that came in, they're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there. And this is what's happening in our country, and it's a shame. As far as rallies are concerned,
they're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats of the people that live there. Under my presidency, we will give full personhood to every dog. Oh my god, they're not fact-checking they're eating the dogs, although they don't need to, because if they wanted to eat something, they would steal cattle. And they'd steal, like, farm animals. Like, there are better options than eating the dogs. Like, there's not much meat on a dog, even a good dog. And I doubt it tastes very good. Then you have to cook it properly, because that's not, like, specifically made for that. Well, bred for that. Anyway. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the dogs. They're eating my dog. I'll give a free dog to anyone who wants a dog. I've got the dogs. They need the dogs. They're gonna eat the dogs. Under my presidency, we'll give the migrants cattle. So, I've been idly skimming through an abridged version of the Constitution of my country. Everyone has the right to bodily and psychological integrity, which includes the right to make decisions concerning reproduction, to security in and control over their body, and not to be subjected to medical or scientific experiments without their informed consent. Yeah, it's in our Constitution. We got a good Constitution, wow.
Because they've taken their criminals off the street and they've given them to her to put into our country. And this will be one of the greatest mistakes in history.
Sorry, I zoned out. What the fuck?
For them to allow, and I think they probably did it because they think they're going to get votes, but it's not worth it because they're...
Do you know how many millions of people you would have to take out of prisons, especially if you're specifically selecting, like, terrorists and killers, apparently, to actually sway any sort of vote? There's, like, over 300 million people in the United States. You'd have to get so many. And get all of them citizenship? Holy shit! No, what? Do they fact check this?
They're destroying the fabric of our country by what they've done.
They're not talking about what he... Okay.
Through the roof. And we have a new form of crime. It's called migrant crime. And it's happening at levels that nobody thought possible.
President Trump, as you know, the FBI says overall violent crime is actually coming down in this country. But Vice President Harris,
the FBI defrauded...
Violent crime rates, especially for homicide in large cities, have fallen sharply since Biden's presidency. After a surge during the pandemic, the violent crime rate is believed to be near its lowest level in 50 years. Another just flat-out bullshit lie.
They were defrauding statements. They didn't include the worst cities. They didn't include...
The former vice president called for defunding...
The former president.
Federal law enforcement, 45,000 agents, get this, on the day after he was arraigned on 34 felony counts. So let's talk about what is important in this race. It is important that...
was found essentially guilty on the documents case. And what happened in my documents case? They said, oh, that's the toughest of them all. A complete and total victory. 2 months ago, it was thrown out. It's weaponization, and they used it, and it's never happened in this country. They used it to try and win an election. They're fake cases.
President Trump, thank you. A really quick response here, Vice President Harris, on this notion of weaponization of the Justice Department.
Well, let's talk about extreme and understand the context in which this election in 2024 is taking place. The United States Supreme Court recently ruled that the former president would essentially be immune from any misconduct if he were to enter the White House again. Understand, this is someone who has openly said he would terminate, I'm quoting, terminate the Constitution of the United States, that he would weaponize the Department of Justice against his political enemies. Someone who has openly expressed disdain for members of our military. Understand what it would mean if Donald Trump were back in the White House with no guardrails, because certainly we know now the court won't stop him. We know J.D. Vance is not going to stop him. It's up to the American people
Vice President
to stop
Harris,
him.
Thank you. Lindsay?
Vice President Harris, in your last run for president.
This is the one that weaponized, not me. She weaponized. I probably took a bullet to the head because of the things that they say about me.
You didn't take a bullet to the head. A bullet to the head means, like, the head. You got, like, the tiniest little bit on the little bit of the ear, right here, just whoop. And it might not even be a bullet. Either a bullet fragment or a piece of glass. Shrapnel. Allegedly, in my opinion.
Democracy.
Possibly.
I'm a threat to democracy. They're the threat to democracy with a fake Russia investigation that went nowhere.
We have a lot to get to. Lindsay?
Vice President Harris, in your last run for president, you said you wanted to ban fracking. Now you don't. You wanted mandatory government buyback programs for assault weapons. Now your campaign says you don't.
You know, I've never seen, like, there are, in terms of gun violence in South Africa, there are shootouts. I hear about those a lot. I've never, in my entire life, heard of a school shooting or a mass shooting. Like, shootouts happen between, like, gangs and the police. But a mass shooting? Private citizens? I've never heard that. I don't know. Actually, yes, fact check me, but I'm not going to fact check myself because there's a video on an American debate, not a random South African saying things.
Supported decriminalizing border crossings. Now you're taking a harder line. I know you say that you're...
The process of injecting liquid at high pressure into subterranean rocks, boreholes, etc., so as to force open existing fissures and extract oil or gas. Water supply depletion, water contamination, air pollution, earthquakes? What? It can... Oh, wow, okay. Environmental degradation. Okay, yeah, no. Bad thing, I guess? Kind of.
Diverse sources of energy, so we reduce. What is important is that there is a president who actually brings values and a perspective that is about lifting people up and not beating people down. And name calling. The true measure of the leader is the leader who actually understands the strength is not in beating people down, it's in lifting people up. I intend to be that president.
President Trump, your
Well,
response?
first of all, I wasn't given $400 million. I wish I was. My father was a Brooklyn builder, Brooklyn, Queens, and a great father, and I learned a lot from him. But I was given a fraction of that, a tiny fraction.
Even a fraction of $400 million is a hell of a lot. It depends on inflation. In 2018, an investigation published in the New York Trump, $400 million in inflation-adjusted dollars. So yeah, basically correct. A fraction of that? That's just inflation bumping it up to 400. No.
And I built it
if the fraction is like 2/3 or 3/4, then yeah.
Many, many billions of dollars. Many, many billions. And when people see it, they are even surprised. So we don't have to talk about that. Fracking, she's been against it for 12 years. Defund the police, she's been against that forever. She gave all that stuff up
people on my side of the thing keep calling her a cop, so I don't think that's true.
Wrongly, very horribly, and everybody's laughing at it, okay? They're all laughing at it. She gave up at least 12 and probably... Now she wants to do transgender operations on illegal aliens that are in prison.
What? Why? What? Why? Why? What?
This is a radical left liberal that would do this.
No, she's like very close to center, frustratingly close to center, to be honest.
Wants to confiscate your guns, and she will never allow fracking in Pennsylvania. And nobody on the other side was killed. Ashley Babbitt was shot by an out-of-control police officer that should have...
Hold on. You telling people to march on the Capitol is an inherently aggressive action, especially considering the demographic that he attracts. You not envisioning that that would turn forceful and violent is just you being stupid. And don't forget, that was him telling him to march on the Capitol to overthrow the election either way.
Ever shot her. It's a disgrace. But we didn't do this group of people that have been treated so badly.
Our nation's capital. On that day, 140 law enforcement officers were injured, and some died. And understand, the former president...
Notice, he referenced one of his supporters dying, not the police officers who died in the line of duty because of those supporters.
Has been indicted and impeached for exactly that reason. That point. But Donald Trump, the candidate, has said in this election there will be a bloodbath if this and the outcome of this election is not to his liking. Let's turn the page on this. Let's not go back. Let's chart a course for the future and not go backwards to the past.
Let me just...
Okay, he's been quoted out of context. Hold on. If I get elected now, if I don't get elected, it's going to be a bloodbath. Huh? What am I missing? Is he referencing, are the cars somehow going to be causing a bloodbath? What?
You would say debunked. Laura Ingraham, Sean Hannity, Jesse, all of these people, they...
It would be... Fox News is, in my opinion, tabloid, in my opinion.
Covered it. If they right to do the president of the United States, you'll get him out
stop
of bed.
Them.
You'll wake him up at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Right. You'll say, come on down to the office. Let's sign a bill.
And that's just, he's like 4 years older than you, mate.
If he signs a bill that the border is closed, all he has to do is say that.
Are you now acknowledging that you lost in 2020?
No, I don't acknowledge that at all.
But
I
you
said
did
that
say
sarcastically.
That.
You know that. It was said, oh, we lost by a whisker. That was said sarcastically.
Either you're an idiot and you don't know how to do sarcasm, or that wasn't fucking sarcasm. How is that sarcasm? What?
Sarcastically. Look, there's so much proof. All you have to do is look at it. And they should have sent it back to the legislatures for approval. I got almost Minister of Hungary. They said, why is the whole world blowing up? 3 years ago it wasn't. Why is it blowing up? He said, because you need Trump back as president.
Isn't Hungary one of the people that was vetoing like Sweden's entrance into NATO? I think it is Hungary. So yeah, that guy's already a piece of shit.
They were afraid of him. China was afraid, and I don't like to use the word afraid, but I'm just quoting him. China was afraid.
Cut off the weapons from Israel, please.
Understand how we got here. On October 7, Hamas, a terrorist organization, slaughtered 1,200 Israelis. Many of them young people who were...
And then they went and slaughtered 40,000 Palestinians. And not even, 40,000. That can't possibly all have been Hamas. Not I don't even know the statistics, but there's almost certainly thousands of civilians in that number.
Simply attending a concert. Women were horribly raped. And so absolutely, I said then, I say now, Israel has a right to defend itself. We would.
It does not have a right to genocide.
And how it does so matters. Because it is also true, far too many innocent Palestinians have been killed. Children, mothers. What we know is that this war must end. It must end immediately. And
Netanyahu, in my opinion, should be imprisoned.
And the way it will end is we need a ceasefire deal and we need the hostages out. And so we will continue to work around the clock on that. Work around the clock, also understanding that we must chart a course for a two-state solution. And in that solution. There must be security for the Israeli people and Israel, and in equal measure for the Palestinians. But the one thing I will assure you always, I will always give Israel the ability to defend itself.
Okay, that's just dodging the fact that you're giving them the ability to defend themselves. You're giving them the weapons to defend themselves. They are then taking those defensive weapons and using them for genocide, in my opinion. So then with you knowing that, it's then on you to cut off that weapon supply. Because it's you, despite your intentions for what it should be used for, it's being used for genocide, in my opinion.
Particular as it relates to Iran and any threat that Iran and its proxies pose to Israel. But we must have a two-state solution where we can rebuild Gaza, where the...
Like I said, she's a centrist and frustratingly centrist.
Palestinians have security, self-determination, and the dignity they so rightly deserve.
President Trump, how would you negotiate with Netanyahu and also Hamas in order to get the hostages out and prevent the killing of more innocent civilians in Gaza?
If I were president, it would have never started.
That's not the question.
If I were president, Russia would have never, ever, I know Putin very well.
That's not the question.
Would have never, and there was no threat of it either, by the way, for 4 years, have gone in...
What? They built up troops there. They pushed them there. They got them stuck there. And then they invaded. What do you mean?
To Ukraine and killed millions of people when you add it up. Far worse than people understand what's going on over there. But when she mentions about Israel, all of a sudden, she hates Israel. She wouldn't even meet with
She didn't
Netanyahu.
say that. In fact, she's being frustratingly not saying that. And she absolutely should be saying that, just with more complicated words, like cut off the weapon supply or stop genociding, in my opinion.
When he went to Congress to make a very important speech, she refused to be there because she was at a sorority party of hers. She wanted to go to the sorority party.
I would also refuse to be there.
She hates Israel. She hates Israel. At the same time...
Did he say Israel would not exist? It shouldn't have existed in the first place, in my opinion. So that sounds pretty good, as long as the people who are already there are just going to be moved to another country, rather than being just left to the mercies of rightfully angered surrounding peoples. Anyway.
In her own way, she hates the Arab population because the whole place is going to get blown up. Arabs, Jewish people, Israel will be gone. It would have...
What do Arabs have to do with it? Saudi Arabia wasn't part of the conversation. Huh?
Never happened.
Is Arab just a category of people outside of just Saudi Arabia? I thought it was just Saudi Arabia because it's Saudi Arabia. I don't know.
Iran was broke under Donald Trump. Now Iran has $300 billion because...
Okay. What? They're not fact-checking Iran was broke? Huh? Huh? They definitely weren't. They can't just magic money into the ether, out of the ether.
Because they took off all the sanctions that I had. Iran had no money for Hamas or Hezbollah or any of the 28...
Well known that he said of Putin that he can do whatever the hell he wants and go into Ukraine. It is well known that he said when Russia...
Yeah, he said it about NATO countries that were not contributing the right percentage of their GDP to military. So it wasn't about Ukraine. But it might as well have been.
Went into Ukraine, it was brilliant. It is...
He did not use the exact word before Russia's invasion of Ukraine in February 2022. Trump called Putin a genius and very savvy. My God. Jesus. You'd think he was being paid, but no, he's probably just stupid and an asshole, in my opinion. It says love letters. Trump called them love letters. What? Hold on, no, I'm skipping ahead.
It is well known he exchanged love letters with Kim Jong-un, and it is absolutely well known that these dictators and autocrats are rooting for you to be president again because they're so clear. They can manipulate you.
Like, obviously, he was exaggerating, but He's still referencing a dictator in a positive way. Holy God.
With flattery and favors. And that is why so many military leaders who you have worked with have told me you are a disgrace. That is why we understand that we have to have a president who is not consistently weak and wrong on national security, including the importance of upholding and respecting in highest regard our military.
Vice President Harris, thank you.
They're the ones, and she's the one that caused it, that's weak on national security by allowing every nation last month for the year, 168 different countries sending people into our country. Their crime rates are way down. Putin endorsed her last week, said, I hope she wins. And I think he meant it, because what he's gotten away with is absolutely incredible.
If he did, that was like a power move to make her look worse. Because he absolutely wouldn't want her and would want the useful idiot, in my opinion. Yeah, it was a political move, but he did say that.
Well, it wouldn't have happened with me. The leaders of other countries think that they're weak and incompetent.
I think I kind of want to edit this image for the thumbnail to make it look like they're kissing.
You have said you would solve this war in 24 hours. You said so just before the break tonight.
How?
How exactly would you do that?
By giving Ukraine to them. By cutting off Ukraine from any aid from them, having them crushed by, in my opinion.
And I want to ask you a very simple question tonight. Do you want Ukraine to win this war?
I want the war to stop. I want to save lives that are being uselessly, people being killed by the millions. It's the millions. It's so much worse than the numbers.
One country is invading because they're a dictatorship. The other country is defending their sovereignty. It's an easy answer. Yes, I want the downtrodden and victim in this thing to win. And he couldn't even say that.
That you're getting with your fake numbers. Look, we're even become president. If I win, when I'm president-elect, and what I'll do is I'll speak to one, I'll speak to the other, I'll get them together, that war would have never happened.
He's describing the process, the start of the process of diplomacy. Well done. You're the only person who's ever thought of that and wanted to try that. Well done. That's actually genius. We should try that.
And in fact, when I saw Putin after I left, that we don't even know if he's... Where is our president? We don't even know if he's a president.
And just to clarify,
they threw him out of a campaign like a dog. We don't even know. Is he our president? But we have a...
We don't even know. He stepped down. I want him back, but he stepped down. We don't know. Is he here? Is he still the president? I don't know.
President,
Mr. President,
that doesn't know he's alive.
Your time is up. Just to clarify in the question, do you believe it's in the U.S. best interest for Ukraine to win this war, yes or no?
I think it's the U.S. best interest to get this war finished and just get it done.
All right.
Negotiate a deal, because we have to stop all of these human lives.
You must say, Mr. President, if you say anything other than either a yes or no just now, I will shut off your mic and flip the trapdoor that will drop you into hell.
From being destroyed.
I want to take this to Vice President Harris. I want to get your thoughts.
Favor and what you think is a friendship with what is known to be a dictator who would eat you for lunch.
Vice President Harris, thank you. We've heard...
Vice President Harris, that's factually incorrect. There has been no proof that Vladimir Putin eats people.
That war should have never started. She was the emissary. They sent her in to negotiate with...
My God, the emissary!
Zelensky and Putin, and she did, and the war started 3 days later.
And that's the kind I want to turn to Afghanistan. It came up in the first hour of the debate, and we witnessed a poignant moment today on Capitol Hill, honoring the soldiers who died in the chaotic withdrawal from Afghanistan. I do want to ask the Vice President, do you believe you bear any responsibility in the way that withdrawal played out?
Well, I will tell you, I agreed with President Biden's decision to pull out of Afghanistan. 4 presidents said they would, and Joe Biden did. And as a result, America's taxpayers are not paying the $300 million a day we were paying for that endless war. And as of today, there is not one member of the United States military who is in active duty in a combat zone in any war zone around the world, the first time this century. But let's understand how we got to where we are. Donald Trump, when he was president, negotiated one of the weakest deals you can imagine. He calls himself a deal maker. Even his national security advisor said it was a weak, terrible deal. And here's how it went down. He bypassed the Afghan government. He negotiated directly with a terrorist organization called the Taliban. The negotiation involved the Taliban getting 5,000 Taliban terrorists released. And get this. And the president at the time invited the Taliban to Camp David, a place of storied significance for us as Americans, a place where we honor the importance of American
I assume that actually happened if they're not fact-checking that.
diplomacy, where we invite and receive respected world leaders. And this former president, as president,
And this piece of shit.
and this former president.
Thank you. President Trump, your response to her saying that you began the negotiations
thank
with the
you.
Taliban.
So, if you take a look at that period of time,
He's also dodging the question.
the Taliban was killing our soldiers, a lot of them, with snipers. And I got involved with the Taliban because the Taliban was doing the killing. That's the fighting force within Afghanistan. They don't bother doing that because, they deal with the wrong people all the time. But I got involved. And Abdul is the head of the Taliban. He is still the head of the Taliban. And I told Abdul, don't do it anymore. You do it anymore, you're going to have problems. And he said, why do you send me a picture of my house? I said, you're going to have to figure that out, Abdul. And for 18 months, we had nobody killed. We did have an agreement negotiated.
Huh? Firstly, what he's about to say is false. Like 6, 7, or 9 months of those months that he's about to talk about were under, what's his name? Joseph.
Mike Pompeo. It was a very good agreement. The reason it was good, we were getting out. We would have been out faster than them, but we wouldn't have lost the soldiers. We wouldn't have left many Americans behind, and we wouldn't have left $85 billion worth of brand new, beautiful military equipment behind. And just to finish, they blew it. The agreement said you have to do this, and they didn't do it. The agreement was terminated by us because they didn't do what they were supposed to do.
I want to move on.
And these people did the worst withdrawal and, in my opinion, the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country. And by the way, that's why Russia attacked Ukraine, because they saw how incompetent she and her boss are.
President Trump, thank you. I want to move on now to race and politics in this country. Mr. President, you recently said of Vice President Harris, quote, I didn't know she was black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn black, and now she wants to be known as black. I want to ask a bigger picture question here tonight. Why do you believe it's appropriate to weigh in on the racial identity of your opponent?
I don't, and I don't care. I don't care what she is. I don't care. You make a big deal out of something, I couldn't care less. Whatever she wants to.
He just used dehumanizing language, although that's not surprising. He said what. I don't care what she is.
Be is okay with me.
But those were your words, so I'm
I
asking.
don't know. I mean, all I can say is I read where she was not black, that she put out, and I'll say that. And then I read that she was black, and that's okay. Either one was okay with me. That's up to her. That's up to her.
Vice President Harris, your thoughts on this?
I think it's, honestly, I think it's a tragedy that we have someone who wants to be president who has consistently, over the course of his career, attempted to use race to divide the American people. I do believe that the vast majority of us know that we have so much more.
I would have answered this differently. I would have gone, I can't believe that we have a presidential candidate who doesn't know that you can't turn into another race.
Calling for the execution of 5 young black and Latino boys who were innocent, the Central Park 5, took out a full-page ad calling for their execution. This is the same individual.
He didn't say it in those exact words, but like it is obviously implied. after that incident, referencing it, he said he wants a return of the death penalty.
Spread birther lies about the first black president of the United States. And I think the American
And that's
people
just flatly racist.
want better than that. Want better than this.
I mean, the ones who
Want
aren't
someone
stupid
who
allegedly
understands as I
do.
do, I travel our country. We see in each
guilty.
other...
Then they pled, we're not guilty. But this is a person that has to stretch back years, 40, 50 years ago, because there's nothing now. I built one of the greatest economies in the history of the world, and I'm going to build it again.
What do you mean there's nothing now? She did bring up something a long time ago. She's brought up a whole lot more things from recently.
It's going to be bigger, better, and stronger, but they're destroying our
Clearly,
economy.
I am not Joe Biden, and I am certainly not Donald Trump. And what I do offer is a new generation of leadership for our country.
Yeah, one that's not like 80 years old, which he is and Biden is.
One who believes
I mean, she is 60, but that's 20 years younger.
in what is possible. One who brings a sense of optimism about what we can do instead of always disparaging the American people.
To defund the police. She has a plan to confiscate everybody's gun.
President Trump,
she
we
has
do
a
have-
plan.
I mean, certainly everyone's assault rifle, who is a random citizen, because they shouldn't have that, in my opinion. Like, Canada has a thing where they, like, have a limit to the magazine size. Like, that way you get your assault rifle, but you get a limited magazine. I feel like that's pretty reasonable. You should do that, especially in a state where, like, one of your politicians is saying that school shootings are a fact of life.
I decided, and I told my people, the top people, and they're very good people. I have a lot of good people in that administration. We read about the bad ones. We had some real bad ones too, and so do they. They have really bad ones. The difference is they don't get rid of them. But let me...
Every time he says something remotely introspective about himself or anything he's done, he always has to add in that what other people have done is worse than what he did.
just explain. I had a choice to make.
Business about
Do I
taking
save
everyone's guns away. Tim Walz and I are both gun owners. We're not taking anybody's guns away.
has
So stop
guns?
with the continuous lying
Why
about
does she
this
have
stuff.
guns?
As it relates
Ugh.
to the Affordable Care Act, understand, just look at the history to know where people stand. When Donald
Why is having guns just a normal thing for you Americans? What? I personally don't know anyone who has guns except the one guy who sells guns legally. And then very distantly I know them.
Trump was president, 60
insurance
times.
for people, private medical insurance. That's another thing she doesn't want to get.
President
People
Trump-
are paying
Well,
private.
no, private medical insurance it should be dumbed down, and there should be public medical insurance. More of it. There should be universal healthcare universally in every country. For fuck's sake.
Privately for insurance that have worked hard and made money and they want to have private. She wants everybody to be on government insurance where you
Yeah.
wait 6 months for an operation.
He's literally saying that people shouldn't be equal in terms of medical care, and it should be based on how fucking rich they are.
That you need immediately.
President Trump, thank
Closing
you. We
statements
have
from both of our candidates. An historic night, this ABC News presidential
Oh,
debate.
thank God I get to
from
skip ahead.
Philadelphia. Back in a moment.
Oh my God, so much. Oh.
And that's the kind of president we need right now. Someone who cares about you and is not putting themselves first.
Someone who gives a damn.
I intend to be a
years.
president.
They've had 3.5 years to fix the border. They've had 3.5 years to
You blocked a border bill. What?
create jobs and all the things we talked about. Why hasn't she done it? She should leave right
Because the country isn't dictatorship. There are obstacles.
now.
Okay, I'm kind of giving her excuses, which I shouldn't be. Impartial, of course.
In the history of our country.
President Trump,
I
thank
feel like the worst president would be Nixon or Bush, because Nixon did the whole scandal thing, and then Bush, oh my God. Well, I can't say I was particularly surprised, except they're eating the dog. They're eating the dogs. They're eating my dogs. I'll give everyone a dog, but they can't eat them. I was surprised by the dogs. But the lying and the bullshit did not surprise me. Yeah. I can't believe that this race is even the tiniest little bit close. I cannot believe that so many people think that this piece of hamburger should be the president of the most powerful country in the world. It baffles me. But, with that, thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed, please feel free to leave a like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.